Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, can make me feel like a spectator in my own life.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It's the #1 prescribed branded chronic migraine preventive treatment.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Everyone knows that unexplainable it factor, that smile that lights up a room, that wow. Well, it doesn't happen by itself. There's chemistry behind the charisma. Colgate Optic White Pro Series toothpaste removes 15 years of deep-set stains when you brush twice daily for 2 weeks. How? The clinically proven formula is powered by Colgate's hydrogen peroxide complex. It works at the molecular level to gently dissolve stains deep within the enamel where your brush can't reach. It's proof that daily routine can be remarkable. That's the science of wow. Colgate Optic White.
Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, can make me feel like a spectator in my own life.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It's the #1 prescribed branded chronic migraine preventive treatment.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Everyone knows that unexplainable it factor, that smile that lights up a room, that wow. Well, it doesn't happen by itself. There's chemistry behind the charisma. Colgate Optic White Pro Series toothpaste removes 15 years of deep-set stains when you brush twice daily for 2 weeks. How? The clinically proven formula is powered by Colgate's hydrogen peroxide complex. It works at the molecular level to gently dissolve stains deep within the enamel where your brush can't reach. It's proof that daily routine can be remarkable. That's the science of wow. Colgate Optic White.
Hello and welcome to the program, UFO Warning. In this episode, we're talking about UFO sightings over Michigan. That's correct, UFO sightings over Michigan. I found these over at NUFORC. I just love NUFORC. Someone left a comment saying that it was pretty much a one-man operation. They do have multiple investigators, though, and just want to shout out to them and thank them very much for posting this stuff. It's just such a tremendous service to the whole community. This first sighting is number 192578, 192578, says it happened September 18th, 2025, 3:15 a.m., location Burton, Michigan, shape orb, color red and bluish, size approximately 10 feet, view from land, direction from viewer, one to the southwest and one to the northeast. Angle of elevation 45 degrees, moving rapidly, then stopped suddenly while traveling north to south. Closest distance approximately 2,000 feet. Estimated speed streaked across the sky, then stopped and hovered. Characteristics: left a trail, aircraft nearby, electrical or magnetic effects, possible abduction, missing time, marks found on body afterward. Wow. An orb appeared in the sky. I found myself in bed covered by what felt like a dome. I was levitating. My dog woke up. Then I woke up. The hair on my arms felt electrically charged. This abduction experience began with the same strange dream that happens every time. Then I heard an odd series of sounds like bloop, 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 bleep, blop, similar to the sounds from the game show Press Your Luck. I saw faint, iridescent, six-sided shapes that gradually came into view, shimmering the way stars do. I could tell there was some kind of energy bubble over me. It seemed to pull my arms inward, and I realized I was in the air. I estimate I was about 2 feet above my bed. Something woke my dog, and I heard him jump up as his tags jingled. He sat completely still. I remember mentally asking whoever had come, "How are you? Are you okay?" That's when my dog woke up. I suddenly felt myself settle gently back onto the bed. Whatever force had been keeping my eyes closed and my arms relaxed released me. Every hair on my arms was standing straight up. I had goosebumps and wasn't cold. In fact, I felt unusually warm. Suddenly, I remember previous times when I believed I had been abducted. One memory was from my grandmother's house. I remember seeing 4 or more disc-shaped craft that came and took me. I saw the disc in the sky. The first time I clearly remember occurred when I was about 10 or 11 years old in Shepherd, Michigan, around 1988 or 89. My bedroom faced north, and I had an obsession with looking out that window every night. One night I saw a disc hovering about a block away at a low altitude. It seemed to notice me, and I remember thinking, "I see you too." The next thing I knew, I was still standing in my matching pajamas, but it was already getting light outside. I panicked. My first thought was to look over at the bottom bunk to see if my brother was awake, because it was time to get ready for school. He was still asleep, but woke up only seconds later. My stepmother came in and told us it was time to get ready. It was about 6:15 or 6:30 a.m. I wasn't tired at all and was confused because it had been around midnight when I had seen the craft. Another experience happened years later. My wife and I were followed home by an orb that hovered over our garage. We took pictures with our camera, but they were blurry. We then used my daughter's new Canon camera. When we viewed the pictures on the computer, they appeared to show a golden disc-shaped object with strange grooves arranged in a staggered circular mechanical pattern. We were stunned. That night, I slept in the living room in a recliner. As I was falling asleep, I felt an overwhelming, heavy energy fill the room. I then heard the click of the kitchen gate and noticed a terrible smell unlike anything I had ever experienced. I was fully awake with my eyes open when I began levitating several feet into the air toward the wall to my right. Again, it was the north wall. I couldn't move. I wasn't frightened at first, just confused. I realized I was somehow about to pass through the wall, and I was trying to understand how that was possible. The next thing I remember, I was inside what looked like a house. I was sitting at an old wooden table and an unpainted antique chair. Across from me sat 2 very tall white beings. They appeared to be wearing black suits. They were extremely thin with unusually long arms. The only thing I remember being told was not to eat when I woke up and not to tell anyone about what had happened. Then I woke up back at home and the recliner still reclined as before. I immediately told my wife and searched online for somewhere to report what had happened. I wrote a long, detailed email to a UFO organization. Later I called to ask whether they had received it, but they said they had not. When I checked out my email, the message had completely disappeared. It wasn't in my sent drafts or deleted folders. I was confused. Where had it gone? The pictures I had taken of the computer images were gone as well. I fell asleep again and woke up around 9 or 9:30 a.m. I was hungry, so I ate a bowl of cereal. Shortly afterward, I went to the bathroom and a strange oily substance came out of me. It floated on the water like oil, displaying swirling colors, but it was smooth like silk and did not resemble normal waste. About 3 or 4 months ago, I noticed what felt like a pimple in a strange spot on my back. I kept trying to remove it, even using tweezers, but nothing happened. After 2 days, it finally came out. It was a small black cylindrical object. When I saw it, the word nano immediately came to mind, although I don't know why. I gently bit to see whether it was hard. It felt both hard and slightly flexible. It resembled the spring from a pen, only much smaller and more tightly wound, although it wasn't actually a spring. While holding it between my fingers, it suddenly disappeared. I have hardwood floors with nothing nearby that could have hidden it. I searched everywhere, even after sweeping and vacuuming, but I never found it. I asked my wife to photograph the spot where it came out. She told me there wasn't a hole, but rather a burn covering an area more than an inch across with blistering. When I saw the picture, I was speechless. It didn't resemble a blackhead. I rarely get pimples, and they normally leave only small red bumps. This was much larger. I'm awake now and typed this as quickly as I could so I wouldn't forget the details. I have a photographic memory, but I also suffer from brain fog and memory problems. I'm not sure why I suddenly remembered all these experiences, especially the one at my grandmother's house. This time felt different. I felt genuinely frightened. My heart was racing when I became fully aware, and I now have a severe headache. I have been typing for about 40 minutes. I ran outside with my phone because I felt certain a craft was still there. However, my phone suddenly reported that it was out of memory. The screen began flashing continuously and cycling through parts of the operating system I had never seen before. It almost seemed as though the phone had been hacked or copied. I looked where my dogs were staring and saw a green light near the corner of my house at ground level. I also saw 2 stationary orbs in the sky, one to the southwest and one to the northwest. Airplanes frequently pass overhead because we live near an airport. These lights did not flash like airplanes or helicopters. They were simply bright and shimmering. I couldn't take any pictures because the phone continued reporting that there was no memory available, but the message appeared in a way I had never seen before. I did manage to take a screenshot. Later, the memory became available again and I was able to record video. I feel that the previous experience may have involved some type of military aspect, but this time it felt different. I'm trying to understand why the hair on my arms and body remained standing straight up for about 20 minutes, why I felt electrically charged, and why those sensations suddenly stopped. I keep having the feeling that whatever these entities are, they are afraid of dogs. My dog has interrupted several experiences by waking up while I felt I was being taken from bed in this situation, in this house. There have now been 4 experiences at 4 different locations. My stomach feels unsettled and my head is pounding. Can someone help me make sense of this? What a sighting. This to me is a person that definitely needs to seek out someone to speak with. And I don't know if that's a UFO investigator involving regressive hypnosis, someone to check him for implants, or possibly a pastor. But this seems like an awfully big burden to carry alone. I like the detail here about the dogs not liking these things. This very much reminds me of how much dogs seem to dislike and are afraid of Bigfoot, and the reports that we have of Bigfoot terrorizing and killing dogs. Gotta wonder, what's this thing with not liking dogs? I love dogs. Weird. Let's go ahead and look at this next one. Something happened on June 22nd, 2025, 7:45 p.m. local time. Duration approximately 30 seconds. 2 observers. Location Harrison Township, Michigan. Location details near the Clinton River boat launch. Shape orb, color white, shiny, clear. Estimated size approximately 1 foot. Viewed from boat. Direction from viewer east toward Canada. Angle of elevation 31 degrees. Heading north toward Chesterfield. Closest distance approximately 20 feet. Estimated speed moved like a fly or flying insect. Characteristics lights on object. My husband and I were about to return to the boat launch in our low fish and ski boat after eating at Bumpers. My husband first noticed something I did not immediately see. Once I spotted it, I could only describe it as a combination of something electronic, like a small drone, with the body and movement of an extremely large flying insect, perhaps 10 to 12 inches long. However, the object's behavior was extremely unusual. My husband said what first caught his attention was a periscope-like object rotating in the water, as if it were observing the area. It then emerged from the water and transformed into an orb that briefly hovered about 10 feet above the surface and approximately 20 feet away from our boat. I did not see the periscope-like object. What I observed was a somewhat round object with a small blue indicator light and clear white transparent shiny helicopter-like wings. It emerged from the water and hovered about 10 feet above the surface and roughly 20 feet above our boat. Once we both acknowledged that we were seeing the same thing, the object moved to our left and disappeared. We were unable to take any pictures. Everything happened too quickly, and I think we were both in a state of shock, skepticism, and disbelief. I'm hoping someone can make sense of what we witnessed. Since this occurred near a public boat launch, is there any way to determine whether there are security cameras in the area that may have captured the event? That is strange. NUFORC Notes says, highlighting this report for its sheer strangeness. Absolutely high strangeness. You might have thought this thing was some sort of a spy drone. Maybe just some wacky tech dude was out there with their spy drone. But then when they talk about this thing turning into an orb, you're in a whole new level of strangeness at that point. What a sighting. This next case comes out of Elmira, Michigan. Quite a detailed case, actually. Multiple silent color changing lights observed at eye level on rural northern Michigan property between September 1st and October 2nd, 2025.
Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, can make me feel like a spectator in my own life.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It's the #1 prescribed branded chronic migraine preventive treatment.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Everyone knows that unexplainable it factor, that smile that lights up a room, that wow. Well, it doesn't happen by itself. There's chemistry behind the charisma. Colgate Optic White Pro Series toothpaste removes 15 years of deep-set stains when you brush twice daily for 2 weeks. How? The clinically proven formula is powered by Colgate's hydrogen peroxide complex. It works at the molecular level to gently dissolve stains deep within the enamel where your brush can't reach. It's proof that daily routine can be remarkable. That's the science of wow. Colgate Optic White.
The observer's background says, we are a retired couple living in northern Michigan. I am 76 years old and a professional artist, and my husband is 87 years old, holding a PhD in psychology. He spent much of his career as a builder and developer. We are both attentive to visual and structural details and are familiar with the natural and man-made features around our property. Our home sits on 40 wooded acres, about a quarter mile off the nearest road, with no street lights, no traffic lights, and no nearby neighbors. The area is very dark and quiet at night, making an unusual light source immediately noticeable. September 1st, 2025, 11:38 p.m. Observation. On September 1st, 2025, at 11:38 p.m., I observed unusual lights in front of our house. The object appeared to be a single unit with 3 distinct illuminated sections that were pulsating pink-white most of the time, but also shifted through many other colors. These sections constantly change shape, appearing to move and transform independently, yet remain part of one connected object. I recorded the event outside using my iPhone 15 for about 1 minute and 20 seconds until the object seemed to shrink and disappear. I kept filming for another 10 seconds, knowing that cameras sometimes detect things the naked eye cannot, similar to the Northern Lights. After returning indoors, I glanced out the window and was surprised to see the light again. I assumed the trees must have temporarily obscured it earlier, so I ignored it. The next day, upon reviewing the footage, I noticed the object didn't simply vanish. It moved in a V pattern and zipped away. Around the 1 minute and 18-second mark, another bright shape briefly crosses the frame from the left, very close to the camera. I've recorded hundreds of videos before and have never experienced interference, but this one contained static several times during filming. September 28, 2025, 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Observation. While watching TV with my husband, I again noticed lights outside the same window. This time, what I saw was far more complex. There were multiple lights of different shapes and colors appearing and disappearing in front of the house. While I was getting my camera, my husband called for me to come back quickly. He was seeing a dark circle with 3 lights in the center, arranged in a V shape. He said the lights suddenly shot outward from the center in 3 different directions, then vanished. Unfortunately, I missed it, so there's no evidence of that occurrence. However, I have many videos taken over the hour and a half that the lights were visible. At several points, 3 separate lights moved in tandem as though connected. Then a strange white shape appeared and morphed into a concave glowing mass, possibly a lens flare. During the event, the area directly in front of our house where our generator and propane tank sat became softly illuminated as though by a focused spotlight. The surrounding trees were faintly lit as well. None of the lights were high in the sky. They remained at eye level, and some even appeared close to the ground. October 2nd to 3rd, 2025, 12:32 a.m. to 12:55 a.m. Observation. At 12:32 a.m., I went outside to let my dog out before bed and immediately noticed a very bright white light in the trees next to our stable. The light was positioned about 10 feet off the ground, level with the bottom edge of the stable roof. It did not illuminate anything around it and was completely silent. I began filming and recorded the light for about 35 minutes, capturing it from multiple angles. During that time, the light changed in brightness and appearance, shifting subtly as I moved to different positions. I went back into the house for just a minute, and when I returned, the light was gone. It had been suggested to me that one way to rule out a drone would be to shine a bright flashlight directly at it, since many drones will dim or power off in response. I did this, aiming a strong flashlight at the light, but it did not react or change in any way when illuminated. Let me just interject here. If you shine that light at a helicopter, you're going to end up with a federal report against you, or at least state report, and it will not be good, so I would not recommend shining a light at these things. Upon reviewing my video later, I realized the object must have moved from its original position near the stable to a point directly above our generator and propane tank, although I do not recall actually seeing it move during the observation. I have a photo clearly showing its position and distance from the ground relative to the stable, providing a good visual reference for its height and location. Supporting photos and videos from each event are attached with this submission for reference and analytical review. Wow, there is a picture of this thing. It's this big ball of light kind of hanging there in the trees. I can't explain it. Before submitting this report, I consulted an AI assistant, ChatGPT, to systematically explore all plausible explanations for these sightings. Together, we examined and ruled out a broad range of potential causes, including aircraft or drones. Yeah, I'm not sure ChatGPT is going to be able to help you on that too much, but something different. You can tell this lady's really, she's really kind of shaken a little bit, I think, by what she saw, because she's trying to get resolution to it. We know there's really not a lot of resolution to most of these things. Here's John Budry's NUFORC investigator, dated 11/14/25. I initially spoke at length with both witnesses over the phone and later in person and found both very credible. My initial review of the details they shared from their 3 sightings did not suggest UFO craft, but more closely resembled reports of paranormal sentient orbs. I think you're getting a little bit into the weeds here on that. This stuff could be so high tech that we mistake it for paranormal. So I'm not sure I would make that assumption. After completing my original write-up on the 5th of November 25 with that conclusion and sending it to the witness for their approval, which they gave, I had the opportunity for an on-site visit, which was welcomed by the witnesses. After this on-site visit, which included some extensive conversations with the witnesses and some additional research, I now have no good idea what this object was. Based on a closer examination of the object in the 124-minute video from the first event, the examination of the site, and the witness's description of the object's behavior, it seems very unlikely to be some glowing, nebulous, energy-based, non-physical astral being that was able to be captured on camera. Nor does it seem possible this could be some sort of deer hunter's drone. The videos show a half-dozen glowing, multicolored, rectangular components that make up this object, most easily seen in the 1-minute 24-second video for the first event. To me, the component assembly strongly indicates some sort of mechanical device of human or alien origin, or maybe they're trying to present themselves as such. It is also a real-world object that can be captured on a video or photo, yet it is totally silent. It doesn't even alarm their dogs. The witnesses are an intelligent professional couple that would not be mistaken and startled by seeing the moon through the trees. which they actually considered were drones or distant neighbors' porch lights. They state the object has approached as close as 20 to 30 feet at times. One does not mistake the moon or drones or distant porch lights as some mysterious object just a few steps away. This is a very real object with some unknown agency for an unknown reason. If pressed, I would guess the object is some high-tech project by some secret dark agency or possibly alien. I admit my stab at this speculation does not shed much light on what it was, nor why this couple's home has been targeted, but as orb sightings seem to be increasing, such as all those in New Jersey late last year, this may provide some clues as to the origin of some of these orbs. Our government's curt dismissal early this year of the New Jersey and actually worldwide orb flap was as just hobbyist drones clearly tells me some dark agency advanced technology research is being covered up, which I think also may apply to this case. Also possibly related is a record level of jet flights from the nearby Camp Grayling area in the last few months, flights which have been mysteriously redacted off the flight radar app. That's interesting. Yeah, lots of strange stuff going on there. I'd also throw in maybe these things, like I've thought for a long time, are interdimensional, and maybe they're just showing up, and our dimension represents something completely different in their dimension. We're just seeing some kind of an overlap here. I don't know. That was a weird one. Take a look at this next one. I think we have time for two more here. This sighting is, the number's 179810. Happened on May 6, 2023, 7 p.m. local time. It says observers 1, Howell, Michigan. Howell, Howell, Michigan. Shape other, color white with a red stripe. Estimated size, the length was 10 to 15 feet, height 5 to 7 feet at its highest point. Viewed from land, direction from viewer north-northwest, angle of elevation 50 degrees, heading east, closest distance 30 to 50 feet, speed 10 to 20 mile per hour. A metallic craft with a flat metallic bottom, a white top with a red stripe, and no sound. I was at my sister's house for a barbecue. Since it was a little cold, everyone wanted to eat inside. I enjoy sitting by a fire, so I decided to start one and eat outdoors. I'm not new to seeing unusual things in the night sky, such as lights that resemble stars but have the ability to fade in and out while moving or flash while maintaining their direction of travel. I also have seen tic-tac shaped objects in daylight at cloud level or higher. However, this experience was unlike anything I had ever witnessed. As I was sitting by the fire, eating and looking at the scenery, an object suddenly caught my attention to the upper left corner of my peripheral vision. It immediately had my full attention. There was absolutely no sound. I could still hear everything around me, including the crackling fire, but the object itself was completely silent. It was flying extremely low. I honestly felt that if I had picked up a rock, I could have thrown it at it and hit the object. I estimate it was between 30 and 50 feet away and only about 5 to 10 feet above the tops of the trees. I could clearly see the entire underside. It was perfectly flat and completely smooth with no visible seams. It resembled a single sheet of flat metal. There were no lights anywhere on the craft. There was also nowhere that appeared capable of housing lights. The entire object looked smooth and seamless. There were no visible emissions. There were no flames, heat, distortion, exhaust, or anything else coming from the craft. I had a clear side view. Although I wasn't looking directly at it from my level, I had an unobstructed view of its side profile. It had no windows. Everything above the flat underside had color. The rear 2/3 of the craft was white. Near the front there was a clearly visible red stripe that had a slight wave to it rather than being perfectly straight. The stripe ran diagonally from top to bottom rather than horizontally along the length of the craft. The front section beyond the stripe was also white. The entire craft appeared perfectly symmetrical. Based on what I could see of the underside, I assumed the opposite side looked identical. It had sleek, flowing curves, almost like a sports car. While watching it, my immediate thought was that it looked like a flying sports car in spacecraft form with no wheels. If you've ever played Anarchy Online, it resembled a YALM, Y-A-L-M, similar to the photo I provided. It moved incredibly slow. I couldn't understand how such a metallic object could remain airborne at that speed without falling. I felt like I could have run alongside it I could have easily ridden a bicycle faster. It never accelerated or decelerated. It simply maintained the same speed and direction. I was facing east while sitting by the fire. West was directly behind me, north was to my left, and south was to my right. The object came from behind me, traveling from the west to the east, parallel to where I was sitting. I turned slightly to my left to watch it as it continued eastward until it disappeared from view. It was still daylight. I estimate the time was between 6:30 and 7 p.m. It definitely wasn't dark yet, and there was still another hour or two before sunset. There were some clouds in the sky, but they had no effect on my observation because the object was so close. The colors were very distinct. The white appeared bright white, and the red resembled the color of a red-colored pencil. My immediate impression was that the craft looked painted. I observed the object continuously for approximately 30 to 60 seconds. When it comes to luminous objects such as glowing orbs, I believe in Jesus Christ, and I attribute those experiences to spiritual beings, whether good or bad. However, when it comes to metallic objects like this one, the only explanations I can think of are that they are either man-made or extraterrestrial. God bless. The truth matters, and you're not alone in seeking it. Yeah, what a wild sighting. Kind of like a flying sports car with no wheels, just cruising overhead at bicycle speed. That is cool. We'll do one more here and wrap this up. Our last sighting here is numbered 29019, dated June 15th, 1978, approximately 9 p.m. local time.
Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, can make me feel like a spectator in my own life.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It's the #1 prescribed branded chronic migraine preventive treatment.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Everyone knows that unexplainable it factor, that smile that lights up a room, that wow. Well, it doesn't happen by itself. There's chemistry behind the charisma. Colgate Optic White Pro Series toothpaste removes 15 years of deep-set stains when you brush twice daily for 2 weeks. How? The clinically proven formula is powered by Colgate's hydrogen peroxide complex. It works at the molecular level to gently dissolve stains deep within the enamel where your brush can't reach. It's proof that daily routine can be remarkable. That's the science of wow. Colgate Optic White.
Location, Manassalona, Michigan. Shaped disc. Characteristics: lights on object, changed color, made a sound, electrical or magnetic effects. We thought our foster daughter was kidding us until we saw the metallic saucer-shaped object humming loudly over the Michigan farmland. We lived in a farmhouse on the edge of a rural town, about 1,000 people. Our backyard was actually 80 acres of grassland, former farmland that had been left unfarmed for many years. There was an old 2-track road that extended from our driveway out into the back 80, past the barn and into the grass field. It was a warm, early summer evening. The skies were clear and we were inside watching TV. Our foster daughter burst in through the back door. "Come look, quick! There's something in the sky, out in the back field." We kind of laughed at her, thinking she was being melodramatic, attempting to get attention, or perhaps even pulling a prank. But when she repeated what she had said a second time, even more insistently than the first, we saw something in her eyes that made us realize there might actually be something wrong. If you're a parent, you know the feeling. It seems that she and her boyfriend had been parking on the 2-track dirt road that ran through the grass field behind our house. We didn't know they'd been there at the time. The radio in their car went out as soon as they saw the object. They then made it back to the house to tell us about the UFO. That's when she came running through the door. So we went out the back door and into the yard, listening to our foster daughter babble about how it went down this way and then up twice, as far as this way, like a pattern. That's when I looked up and saw the object hovering over the field behind our house. I estimate that it was no more than 250 yards away from me, hovering approximately 200 to 300 feet in the air. It was metallic and disc-shaped, and all along the rim it displayed changing colors: red, orange, white, and blue. There were 4 of us there in all, and 2 of the people also saw a greenish tint. But what made me stand there slack-jawed was the sound the darn thing was making. It was a loud, vibrating, humming, low-pitched tone. The sound seemed to vibrate into and through everything. I was standing next to an old outbuilding in the backyard, and the siding on the building was actually rattling and humming from the noise. I reached out my hand and touched the building, and it was literally vibrating. I have since estimated the humming and vibration were very close to 39 or 40 hertz. And as unbelievable as this sounds, and it makes me realize why there aren't many good quality pictures or videos taken of UFOs, I had a brand new Nikon F camera in my house and didn't even think of going inside to get it. The 4 of us stood there slack-jawed, me, my wife, my foster daughter, and her boyfriend. None of us said a word for 10 minutes. We simply stared, transfixed by this thing in the backyard that just sat there humming. Finally, about 10 minutes later, it very slowly, perhaps 20 miles an hour, drifted off toward the southeast in the direction of a very sparsely populated rural area of our county. I lost sight of it when it crossed the sky and disappeared among the streetlights. We all went inside and recounted to one another what we had seen, felt, and heard, and I really think that was when we all just shut up about it. None of us said a word to anyone, except for a few very close friends, until now. The time has come for an explanation from someone, from our government or whoever the powers that be are in this country. What the heck did we see in the sky behind my house? I have taken several college-level astronomy courses. I know the difference between an anomaly and an ordinary occurrence. I did not see Venus, swamp gas, or a weather balloon. I used to be a UFO skeptic, and I have purposely left the term extraterrestrial out of this account because I saw no evidence of life or intelligent maneuvering by the object. But I can say with 100% certainty that there was something unexplained in the skies over Mansalona, Michigan in the summer of 1978. Oh, wow, that was a good one. Yeah, I have friends up there, and I have heard firsthand accounts of people seeing large disc-shaped craft, believe it or not, and heard those accounts from people that you would not expect to be reporting UFOs. Well, some really good reports are overall from NUFORC. Very much appreciate those. Hey, if you like the program, don't forget to hit like, follow, subscribe. Doesn't cost a dime. Until next time, this is UFO Warning, over and out.